Hello, it's me, French Ted, and we are here for episode number... Oh, shit, I just looked at it. 54, I think? It's in the thumbnail, it's in the title. I feel like I should stop saying it, but I'm never going to stop saying it, let's be honest. We're here either way. February week 4. We are at the end of February, and the Owen Hart Cup for both the men and the women continues, among a bunch of other things. I'm going to be honest, it's been 4 weeks since I recorded anything AEW related. So I have had a look at what happened in the last few weeks, so I'm kind of on top of it. But yeah, we've got a really hopefully fun show booked tonight for Dynamite and for Collision. The Owen Hart Cup continues. We've got 2 men's tournament matches on each show and 1 women's match on each show, and then the first round should be done by next week. Let's have a look. Yes, by next week the first round should be done, so that's very exciting, and then we're kicking it into the high gear with much bigger matches. You know, all the weedy ones will be out of it. But either way, we're here for the pre-show to begin with at Dynamite. In about that had subpar wrestling and non-existent crowd heat. Deonna Purrazzo gets the win. She defeats Layla Hirsch in 15 minutes with the Fujiwara armbar. Did I book this? I booked it as storytelling because we just needed a storytelling thing, and nothing on the main show needed that. So pre-show is excellent for when you need to get certain match types out there that you just don't want to use. So yeah, if this was a technical masterclass, then you bet Deonna would have been straight up there. But yeah, there's nothing to tell story-wise in this match except Deonna being better than Layla. Following this, though, we've got another pre-show match. I think this is the last one. I think we've just got the 2. And it's Miro and Coughlin taking on the Von Erichs. And of course, Miro and Coughlin get the win. Alex Coughlin gets the pin on Ross Van Erich. A 70 rated segment, which is pretty good. Miro head and shoulders above everyone else, that makes sense. And Ross being the weak link, so Marshall is creeping up in the numbers. Ross not so much, so maybe could we see a Marshall singles run in the future? Who knows? Miro, yeah, carrying Alex Coughlin. I think these two have kind of had their day. I don't know. I'll keep them together for now because our tag division's kind of a bit, wishy-washy at the moment. We've got a lot of like makeshift teams that just aren't that great. So I might take inspiration from what AEW did a while back and doing the blind tag eliminator. So I could do like a special episode where we just get a randomizer on the screen. We randomize it live together. When I say live, I mean I'll just randomize it and pre-record, and that can just decide an entire tournament bracket to face whoever our tag champs are at the time. That might be quite fun. We'll book that in for a future date, but we've got the Owen Hart Cup to focus on. Can't have too many tournaments at once. And I believe we're heading straight into the first match on the main show, which isn't an Owen Hart Cup match. If you remember, Pentagon said he'd be coming to Dynamite to set an open challenge, and that open challenge has been accepted by none other than El Generico. Oh, at 85. In a bout that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, Pentagon Jr. gets the win. He defeats El Generico in 24 minutes with the Fear Factor, making defense number 2 of his AEW International title, the title that he won from Jay White, who is now titleless after, being double gold boy. He's now no gold boy because he's not even in Bullet Club Gold. But yeah, great match, to open the show. Got off to a strong start. Yeah, Pentagon and Alex Abrahantes have excellent chemistry. Pentagon with 82, Generico 76, getting an 85 somehow. A winner, can't complain. Pentagon continuing a really great streak that he's on. Following this, though, we have a Ricky Starks promo just before he heads to the ring, just saying, the new wave might be dead, but that doesn't mean that absolute Ricky Starks is also dead in the water. In fact, he's going to make his own wave, and he's going to win the Owen Hart Cup tournament. But unfortunately for Ricky Starks, his opponent is Will Ospreay, and that is the match that we're about to see right now. And in a bout that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, Will Ospreay gets the win. He defeats Ricky Starks with a Stormbreaker. Unfortunately, Ricky is all talk and not much else. Although kind of unfair because you're facing Will Ospreay, one of the best wrestlers in the world. And Will Ospreay, who has committed himself. He's now loyal to AEW because, we've broken him down. He is very keen to go all the way because the winners of the Owen Hart Cup tournaments do get world title opportunities. And who wouldn't want to see Will Ospreay in a world title match? But a 78 rated match, not bad considering Ricky Starks is complete arse in the ring. Will Ospreay definitely carrying this. So that means that Will Ospreay advances to the next round of the tournament. His opponent in the next round will be decided in the main event tonight between Roderick Strong and MJF. MJF's returning match since his loss to Hangman Adam Page all those months ago. So that should be very, very exciting. Following this, though, we head backstage to two former New Wave members who have stuck together. We've got Mercedes Moné and Daniel Garcia donning a pair of sunglasses now because he's a cool guy. And Mercedes just kind of runs into Brie and just says, hey, I've heard you saying that, we want to see Daniel Garcia, Bryan Danielson. Bryan should get a rematch. Bryan should have another match against Daniel Garcia. My question is, though, Brie, is why do you think Bryan deserves another title match? If I remember correctly, he's had a one-on-one with my boy Garcia and he lost. He was then in the four-way match with my boy Garcia and two people that did not deserve to be there. And guess what? He lost. So tell me why Bryan Danielson deserves to be anywhere near Daniel Garcia. And Bree's kind of just like, excuse me? And Mercedes goes, no, excuse me. And she kind of clicks, and her and Daniel Garcia just walk off. Seems like Garcia might be a little bit whipped, but let's be honest, if you had Mercedes Moné on your arm, you'd be happy to be whipped. So it seems like they are back together and as strong as they ever were. Also, kind of throwing a little bit of shade at Bryan Danielson. Obviously he has suffered some losses recently, but that doesn't kind of disregard the pure talent that he has. So I'm sure something will come up out of this. Brie, might take this a little bit personally. You never know. She is still technically an active wrestler, so maybe she wants a piece of Mercedes. We'll have to wait and see. Mercedes, who is of course in the Owen Hart Cup. Brie, who's not, but that's fine. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Mercedes has got other things on her mind, I guess, and maybe Daniel Garcia does too. Following this, though, we do have a update from Tony Schiavone. He's managed to get some information, and it's an update on Matt Jackson. So obviously the last time we saw Matt Jackson was when the match against his brother Nick had to be stopped because Matt was in such a poor condition. He was physically unable to compete. Nick Jackson's beatdown was just far too brutal and just, wrong on many levels. And just provides an update. It says that Matt is resting well at home. He is not cleared to compete, and they're unsure of when he will be cleared to compete. Tony says he tried to get a word from Nick, but Nick was refusing to talk on the subject. So just so everyone knows, Matt is okay, but he is at home and he may not be seen for a little while. So just a little update from Tony. Could have done better, mate. Come on. His gimmick's getting stale. What is that gimmick? What is the announcer? We'll have a look at that later. After this, though, we do head back to the ring, and Jay White and Juice Robinson have come out to the ring, and they are looking serious, far more serious than what Juice looks there. And he calls out Bullet Club Gold. Jay says, you know what? I'm sick of these back and forths. I'm sick of the sneak attacks. I'm sick of, everything that you've been plotting, CM Punk. I want you and the rest of Bullet Club Gold to come out here. Me and my boy Juice, the Bang Bang Club, we are not afraid of you. We will never back down from a fight. And it seems like this is going to end in a fight. So why waste time? Let's just get it over and done with right now. At which CM Punk's music hits, and obviously the crowd are like, oh, shit's about to go down. But there's no Punk. Kenta and Chris Bay, the other 2/3 of the men's side of Bullet Club Gold, come out And Chris Bay grabs the mic and says, Jay, you need to just chill out. This is why it never worked out. You're just a bit too high strung. Same with you, Juice. You're a bit of a loose cannon. You know, the Rock Hard Rock collaboration was great, but, you know, when I have a choice between Punk and Kenta or White and Robinson, I mean, come on, it's a no-brainer. But we're out here, not because Punk's told us to, but because, you know, I feel like we're the forgotten men here, and that's not right. We're the Trios champion alongside Punk. So, Jay, if you've got a problem with Bullet Club Gold, why don't you settle it with us? How about next week? Kenta, Chris Bay against Jay White and Juice Robinson. And then maybe CM Punk will grace you with his presence. And Jay says, if that's what it takes, you're on. I'll see you two losers next week. Because, you know, Jay White's so cool. He calls people losers. He doesn't really. But yeah, that is a match confirmed for next week. We get the graphic popping up on the screen and all that. Jay White, Juice Robinson taking on Kenta and Chris Bay. Will CM Punk make an appearance? Probably, but we'll have to wait and see. And that will happen next week on Dynamite in the next episode. 91 rated segment. It's Jay White on the mic. He's great. He's got so much charisma. And Juice is also getting much better on the mic as well. So can't complain. After this, though, we do stay in the ring, and we've got our women's match from the Owen Hart Cup tournament. It's Shayna Baszler taking on Hikaru Shida, and in a decent 78, rated match, Hikaru Shida is a queen. Defeats Shayna Baszler in 15:41 with the Falcon Arrow. Look at that, 79 from Hikaru Shida. She is so good. Oh my goodness, I love her. 78, awesome. You know, commentary's great. And Hikaru Shida makes it through. This woman knows tournaments, and I think she's going to be a very difficult person to beat in the Owen Hart Cup. Great win here. Shayna, but you know, try again another time. But Hikaru Shida is through, and in all honesty, she's probably one of the favourites again, let's be honest. Great match. I wasn't expecting a 78 at all, but I will gladly put that in my back pocket. We do head backstage now because Keith Lee, our TNT champion, has got a little interview with Renee Young, and he's just talking about, you know, the TNT championship, how great it is to be champion, to do it all on his own, you know, without any help or anything like that, when he is interrupted by Pentagon Jr. Pentagon Jr. just kind of walks in, kind of looks at the title, kind of scoffs at Keith Lee, and then just, you know, pats him really aggressively in the middle of Keith Lee's chest. And Keith Lee's just like, what are you doing? And Pentagon just does his zero miedo thing to his face, and then kind of like, you know, the miedo bit, he kind of pushes that into Keith Lee's chin, which obviously Keith like goes to react, but Pentagon's already gone. So yeah, a little bit of you know, Pentagon winding up our TNT champion here. Not sure why, but he is. And Keith's kind of like, what the hell was that? And, you know, we've run out of time for the interview now, so Renee's just like, okay, I'm just gonna slip out. And this leads us into our main event of the night. Yeah, really awkward, strange interaction between Pentagon and Keith Lee. Let's put that behind us, because tonight we've got the return of MJF as he takes on Roderick Strong in his first round Owen Hart Cup match. Let's see what happens. An 83, I'll take that. I will take that. 87 from MJF, not too shabby. It is his return match, so, you know, cut him some slack. In about that, had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. In our main event, MJF defeats Roderick Strong in 18 minutes with the Heat Seeker. What a lovely, lovely move. And obviously part of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. And MJF advances. And I believe, if I can remember correctly, the next round match will be Will Ospreay taking on MJF. Which, you know, in my eyes, that's a final, isn't it? So that is going to be insane when that goes down. So post-match, obviously MJF is celebrating. He's tired, just wants to get out. So, you know, he rolls out of the ring, starts making his way up the ramp when Prince Devitt's music hits, and he thinks, oh, here we go. What's going to happen? MJF thinks he's about to have a fight, but Devitt just comes out and just stares down MJF. Kind of like how MJF came out to sarcastically applaud Prince Devitt in his match. Devitt just stands there, just eyeballing MJF, and MJF's kind of like, what's his problem? And that is how we end the show. Just a really, like an old Western stare down between Devitt and MJF, who are kind of eyeing each other up and expecting to see each other in the semi-final, I believe, providing they both win their matches. But yeah, MJF with a very tough task, and Prince Devitt's opponent yet to be decided. I believe it's between Rocky Romero and the debuting Titan, which should be a really, really great match, we hope. But that is how we end AEW Dynamite for this week. Let's see how we did. An 86. Whoa, boy, I will take that. A huge opening match really helped with that score, and then some great segments in between. Some really, really good wrestling, especially Shida and Baszler. That was a surprise and a half. Our lowest rated match on the card, but also a really good 78. So yeah, this is a really strong showing from Dynamite. Let's see if Collision can do the same. We've got some really good matches there as well. Yeah, as I said, there's going to be 2 male tournament matches and 1 female tournament match. We also have a big boy main event. Well, not tomorrow. It's going to happen in like 10 minutes. Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page go one-on-one for the first time, I believe, in the entire series so far. After the tag team match last week, Kenny wants a little piece of Hangman one-on-one just to prove that he is the better wrestler. So it's kind of like a little bit of a grudge match. But that is our main event for Collision alongside the tournament matches. So let's not waste any time. Let's head straight into AEW Collision. Okay, we are here for Collision. And as mentioned, like 20 seconds ago, but for me, obviously, it's a little bit longer. We've got 2 of the men's Owen Hart Cup matches and 1 women's Owen Hart Cup match. And then we finished the show with Kenny Omega taking on Hangman Adam Page, which I'm hoping is going to be a very, very good match. But we are in the pre-show, and we've got a kind of makeshift match here. Chris Jericho has come out of the commentary box, and he kind of just wanted to have a go in the ring. So Tankman and the Legion of Pain, formerly known as Ultra Violence, have teamed up, and he's teamed up with Lee Moriarty and Big Bill. Big Bill, the guy that got a 90 rated match a few weeks ago. In a decent pre-show match, though, Tankman and Legion of Pain get the win. When Tankman pins Lee Moriarty with a Tankman driver. Looking at the numbers here, yeah, it's clear that Tankman was the best. Chris Jericho has really fallen off in this series, getting the worst rating out of everyone. And Dinza got injured and still did worse. Yeah, bizarre. That's why we put him behind the commentary desk and not in the ring. But he wanted a match. We've given him a match. So he can shut up now. 59 rated match. Yeah, that's why it's in the pre-show. Dinza is injured. And, Big Bill. Come on, Big Bill. Also, we're in Hawaii. It's been a while since we've been in Hawaii. Not many people in Hawaii, but I thought, screw it, why not? They're going to get a huge main event. Good old Hawaiians. And then in our final pre-show match, which is listed as poor, Ashley Blackheart gets the win on Nyla Rose with the Fright Night. Nyla Rose, who I believe, I could be really wrong here, I think she let me know a couple of weeks ago that she's planning on retiring soon. So, yeah, we're going to try and use her as much as possible. And when I say use her as much as possible, I mean we're going to have her lose as much as possible because, she's got a decent amount of pop and pretty decent in-ring skills. So if there's anyone that's below her in the pop and skill department, she's just going to be used to help them. And Ashley Blackheart is one of those women. 54 overall, not terrible, let's be honest, for who's involved. But that is how our pre-show ends. And we jump straight into Collision with our first Owen Hart Cup match. And it is Zack Sabre Jr. taking on Roosh. Can Zack make it to the next round? Something that Claudio couldn't. Let's find out. In a bout that had great wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Of course he does. Zack Sabre Jr. gets the win and he defeats Roosh in 23 minutes with a submission called Hurrah, another year, surely this, ... I'm assuming it's longer than that, but it probably couldn't fit in. But we'll just call it the hurrah. Zack Sabre Jr. with an 82, Roosh with a 78. Great performance from both these guys. 79 overall, can't complain. Zack is through to the next round, and I believe he faces Jeff Cobb, Mr. Inform, the guy that defeated Claudio Castagnoli, and John Moxley was very unhappy about that loss. But after this, though, we do quickly head backstage because Renee has got hold of Kenny and Kota, the Golden Lovers, where Kenny just hypes up his match for tonight against Hangman Adam Page. And Renee says, Kenny, you requested this match. Can you tell us why? And Kenny says it's a simple reason why I requested this. Adam Page is, has been one of my closest friends. We're still close friends. And I'd say that we're maybe even better rivals. And in the past year or so, Adam Page has done amazing. He's been the world champion. He defeated MJF. He held the title honorably. But he seems to have fallen recently, and that's affected him. And it's affected him in a way that it shouldn't affect a top guy. I don't necessarily see myself as a top guy, but I know how a top guy should feel. And a top guy should always feel like they deserve everything that is put in front of them, whether that's a win, whether that's a loss. And being the world tag team champion with Kota Ibushi, I feel like a champion. And I don't think Adam Page knows what feeling like a champion is, because even when he was champion, he didn't feel like a champion. And last week, or whenever it was, him and Bandito defeated us fair and square in the middle of the ring. And you could say that they've earned their opportunity to maybe face us for our World Tag Team Championships. But the trouble is, Renee, Adam Page and Bandito don't feel like champions. So why should they get a championship opportunity? So I requested this match because I want Hangman Adam Page to hear everything I'm saying right now. I want him to know how I feel. And I want him to bring that champion energy to the ring tonight and prove to me and Kota and all of AEW that he is a deserving champion and deserves an opportunity. And Don Callis is apparently still there, and he just goes, yeah, Adam Page, Hangman, woo. Woo, I don't have a screwdriver because this isn't real life. This is French Ted save. I'm a good guy still. Way. Yeah. Kind of rambled a bit there, but, you get the idea. Kenny Omega can see how defeated Hangman Adam Page has felt as of late and kind of wants to give him that new lease of life through, wrestling. Because Kenny is someone who always puts 110% in. He hasn't been offered a championship opportunity yet in this series, which, some might say is criminal. But he hasn't let that scupper his performances, his motivation. He always goes out 110%. And Kenny just feels that Hangman Adam Page sometimes doesn't realise, what he could have. So yeah, tonight it should be a great match. I'm really hoping for a high score. But yeah, let's stop talking about Kenny and Kota and Hangman Adam Page and Bandito, and let's head back to the Owen Hart Cup, where we have a women's encounter. It's Miyu Yamashita from the Makito Respect Army taking on Yuka Sakazaki, an all Japan affair. Let's head straight into it. 55, it's fine. They got great chemistry, which is good. In a bout that had decent wrestling but non-existent crowd heat, Yuka Sakazaki defeated Miyu Yamashita in 15:37 with the magical girl kick. The crowd were turned off because of two, unimportant workers. But let's be honest, guys, these are great workers. 68 and 68, that's better than half my roster of women. And it kind of annoys me that this got a bum rating, because this wouldn't. I feel like, let's ignore that. Let's say it says 71. I'm giving it a 71. They got 68s. They got great chemistry. 71. Fuck that. Yuka Sakazaki got there in the end with a great win. Someone who I feel like is really, really underappreciated. And that's only my fault. So she deserves this win. Although Miyu, I think, is one of our best women wrestlers right now. But she's still a bit new in comparison to Yuka. So let's give Yuka the rub today. And she advances to the next round. So Maki Ito's Respect Army member does not make it through. Maki Ito, remember, is through though, so could be an interesting thing. Ito versus Sakazaki, who knows? But yeah, she is through. Yamashita is out. Following this though, we head backstage, and as you know from the tournament bracket, Malachi Black will be facing the debuting Ilya Dragunov in singles action in the Owen Hart Cup, and that will be happening in the next episode. But we see a backstage segment here where Malachi Black and Brody King have kind of cornered Ilya backstage and said that they like what they see from Dragunov. He has a darkness inside of him, and he possesses that thing, that je ne sais quoi, that Buddy Matthews did not, which is why Matthews is no longer a member of the House of Black. Whereas Malachi sees the potential, he sees a lot in Ilya Dragunov, and he just says, Ilya, irrespective of our match next week, the House of Black opens its doors to you. And they kind of just leave it at that, and Ilya's kind of like, okay, a decision does not need to be made now, but the doors are open and we welcome you. And there's like smoke and whatever, and Brody King is like breathing heavily, I don't know. But it seems like Malachi and Brody are very high on Ilya, and they want him to become a member of House of Black. Is this just mind games, to give Malachi the advantage against Ilya next week? Who knows? But there's no agreement. There's no more to this. It's just a subtle little tease, Why don't you join us, my boy? So we'll have to see how next week's match goes, and if there is a definitive answer from Ilya Dragunov. But after this, though, we do head to the ring with our next men's Owen Hart Cup match, and it is Pac, our 2023 Wrestler of the Year, according to the game, taking on Jack Perry. Not Jungle Boy back Jack Perry, just Jack Perry. And in a decent match, Pac gets the win. He defeats Jack Perry in 20 minutes with the Black Arrow. Pac with an 86, awesome. It's great to see Pac back. Jack Perry with a 57, he really should be doing better than this by now, but to be fair, I haven't really given him the chance. We have such a bloated roster. Like the other day when I was booking shows, I was thinking, should I just sack like half these people and we just go down to one division again? But then I was like, no, I can't do that. I like all of these guys too much. Even the ones I don't push, I like them. But that, I think eventually down the line, there are going to be some contracts that we stop renewing. But as and when that happens, you guys will be kept in the loop. But a 76 from this match, not bad, especially when you look at the numbers here. It's kind of averages out. I'll take that. Pac is through, which means Pac is facing someone. Hold on, I've got the tournament here. Bear with me one moment. Pac will be facing the winner of Malachi Black and Ilya Dragunov. Which we should have known that, because we know that it is Zack Sabre Jr. and Jeff Cobb. Oh, ignore me. But yeah, that should be a good match, but we will have to find out the winner of that match next week, being the final men's match on the Collision side. After this, though, we head backstage and we can see Moxley and the rest of the Combat Club together, and Mox is very happy that Zack Sabre Jr. won. He's praising him, kind of throwing a little bit of shade at Claudio, who's, doesn't look the happiest, and he just says, great work, you did it. That's exactly what I expect for people who are in the Combat Club. We don't lose. We don't, especially to people like Jeff Cobb. And he orders Zack Sabre Jr. says, next week, I want you to teach a lesson to Cobb. I want you to break every single one of his limbs. Teach him a lesson that Claudio couldn't teach. So a little bit of shade on Mr. Castagnoli here from the AEW World Heavyweight Champion John Moxley in a 91 rated segment. Also, side note, got an email the other day in the game, obviously. Claudio Castagnoli is now flabby. He's not ripped anymore or muscular. He is now listed as flabby. Now, I know that this game isn't the most realistic, because, you know, we had Drew McIntyre chatting to a 12-year-old a couple of weeks ago. But I don't think there's any way, like, ever, that Claudio Castagnoli would let himself get flabby. So yeah, I think that will maybe affect his performance a little bit, especially in terms of his star quality and stuff like that, because I think the more muscular you are, the higher your star quality becomes. It's something silly like that. But yeah, it kind of came at a good time. You know, he lost, he's a bit down in the dumps, and now he's flabby, so poor Claudio. But yeah, 91 rated segment. Let's just focus back on the show. Moxley seems to have beef with Jeff Cobb, although I think it's more through Claudio. Jeff Cobb is just, you know, that the target that happens to be there. But yeah, Jeff Cobb, Zack Sabre Jr. should be a really, really good match. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Heading backstage now, and Yuka is kind of celebrating her win, heading back to the locker room from the match earlier tonight, when Maki Ito is waiting in the locker room, and she speaks to Yuka, and an 88, whoa, sorry, I just saw that, and she offers Yuka a place in her respect army. She says, us Japanese women must stick together. You are a shining star in Japanese wrestling, and I would love for you to be a part of the Ito Respect Army. And Yuka is kind of like, I don't know. And then she's like, no, thank you. And Maki goes, no? And Yuka says, no, thank you. And Yuka just, you know, turns to pick a towel up or something when Ito claps her hands. And from out of frame is Emi Sakura, Miyu Yamashita, Riho, and Suzume, all of the current Respect Army members, and they beat the shit out of Yuka Sakazaki, beating her down, and Maki is just stood there laughing and clapping along to the beatdown. Miyu obviously nursing an injury while beating her down. Riho and Suzume are a little bit more reluctant in their beatdowns, you know, like they keep looking at Maki, and Maki's like, carry on. But Emi's just a bit of a psycho. She's going ham because Emi Sakura's just great. And yeah, Yuka Sakazaki probably should have said yes. Would have made for a much easier life, I guess. But, you know, you disrespect the Respect Army, I guess, and you get the horns from 5 different, 5 different Japanese women, you know, which for some people is a kink. But for Yuka, I don't think so. But that is, that's that. The cameras pan away. They leave Yuka to get beaten up. Those terrible cameramen, always filming people getting hurt. This heads into our main event. Kenny Omega against Hangman Adam Page. This is a pay-per-view level kind of match in my eyes, especially the numbers that these guys produce. So I'm very, very excited. Let's not waste any more time. Let's head straight into it. Oh, a 96! I was expecting like an 89 at least. A 96 is awesome. So good. In a bout that had superb wrestling, my favourite word in this game, and good heat, Kenny Omega defeats Hangman Adam Page in 28 minutes with a one-winged angel. It's important to note that during this match, Adam Page did have a visual pin on Kenny Omega. The referee was taken out by a botched move from Kenny and Hangman, which left Hangman available to do his buckshot lariat. There was a visual 1, 2, 3, but the referee was down, unfortunately. Hangman then turning his attention to the referee, forgetting that Kenny's right there, eats a V-trigger straight into the one-winged angel, allowing for Kenny Omega to pick up the win. And post-match, you just see Kenny walking up the ramp celebrating and just kind of looking at Hangman and just being like, you know, pointing to his skull, just being like, come on, man, where's that mentality? You know, you let it slip, you focus on the referee, you didn't focus on me. And Hangman just looks even more defeated in the ring. But you can see that there's a fire burning inside. It's getting bigger. And yeah, awesome match. Kenny and Hangman have pretty good chemistry. They got great chemistry. Imagine if they had great chemistry. That could have been 100. Oh, why do that to me, game? The announcers and stuff are great, but it deserves better announcing, apparently. And Kenny's got a hot new move. Yep, just a simple regular match. Awesome. Let's end the show and see how we did. This is obviously going to push it right up, isn't it? An 88 rated show. Oh, what shows we had. Yuka was used too much. Fuck off. We love Yuka Sakazaki here. Yeah, awesome match. Awesome main event. Couldn't have asked for anything better. Especially Maki Ito delivering an 88 promo. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I usually write off a lot of Japanese talent because I stupidly assume that they don't speak fluent English. Mostly because, I mean, I've seen Maki Ito speak English before, but it doesn't seem the most fluent. And the same with Pentagon, like, because I've never really seen him talk in English. I've only ever seen him speak Spanish when he was on Lucha Underground. I just assumed he probably can't, cut an English promo, but he can. It's those kind of things you got to look at. And then you find out you get an 88 rated promo from Maki Ito and Yuka Sakazaki. So, yeah, awesome stuff. This is a really successful episode in terms of the numbers, and I'm looking forward to booking the final round matches, among other things, in the next episode. At the end of that episode, I'll do a quick roundup of the tournament, the next round brackets and such. But yeah, should be good. I'm very excited. And I think that's it for this one. Thank you very much, guys. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.